Hello and welcome to Jewelry Junkie TV. I'm your host, Pam Healy, and on my left...
Hi, I'm Genevieve Martineau.
And we are a duo of beading, actually we're beading buddies.
That's right.
Yes, and I want to wish everyone a happy, happy New Year and healthy New Year. Now, when you think of New Year's, what do you think of? Fireworks.
Parties.
Yeah, sparkles.
Champagne.
Yeah, sparkly things. Like Swarovski crystals. Ooh. That's what we're going to be doing today here on Jewelry Junkie TV. Well, isn't this exciting?
Yeah, what?
Oh, I love bling. I love shiny things. My daughter said I'm like a crow. I immediately go to shiny things. And I think a lot of women do that, don't you?
Yes, I agree. And I think a lot of people really appreciate using crystals in their jewelry.
Absolutely. And these are called Swarovski crystals.
Yes, a lot of people have trouble saying the word Swarovski. I always like to think of it as that I swore off skiing, so Swarovski. Oh, and that's a good way to remember how to say the word.
Yes.
Yep.
And so they're Austrian crystals.
They are, and yeah, Swarovski is actually a brand name.
Right.
They tend to be a highly respected and recognized name in the industry. So today we're going to focus on beads that don't have any holes. And in the Swarovski world, they refer to them as stones or rivolis. And specifically the rivoli shape is this shape where it basically has a pointy tip on both sides, both the front side with a bunch of facets, and also on the back side, which has the coating.
And sometimes it's difficult to know which side is which.
Well, they're often both beautiful.
Oh, absolutely, yep. Absolutely.
And there are certainly a lot of other shapes of crystal cabochons.
Oh, yep, you have one here.
Yep, this is a 27 millimeter one, which is not a rivoli, but I sort of put it in the same category because we basically use them the same way. Yeah. And so what we can do is show a whole bunch of examples
right here.
Jewelry made. Yep, so basically these are things that both Pam and I made over the past years, and where we have crystals that we've wrapped in seed beads primarily. And so this one is like set in the middle of a bracelet. We have ones that are set as pendants. There are different shaped ones. This one is a triangle, this one is an oval. And so basically you can connect them together if you have multiples. You can even wrap them in wire, and I use them sometimes as the clasp on my bracelets. And so there's lots of different ways to use them. These are just a few of the ways.
Right.
And there's actually many, many different ways using different stitches and different techniques to actually hold the stone with the seed beads, making a seed bead cage that will frame it in. Right,
almost like, I think of it like a nest.
Yes, that's a good way to think of it. So the nest, and it basically forms over the stone.
Right.
And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to wrap one of the rivolis that I have here in a very simple method that I think that people who are watching the show, viewers, can attempt to do themselves.
Right.
So I can explain a little bit about that.
Yes, I think you're going to discuss the beads, seed beads.
Yes.
Especially seed beads.
So now these are a special kind of seed bead called a delicate bead. And what that is a cylindrical tube-shaped bead. When they make it making a long, thin tube, and then they cut it. And that forms the little tube shape.
And that's why the delicas, if you like things to be very symmetrical,
Very square.
Square.
Yep.
Those are really the perfect seed beads to use because they just fit so well together.
And that's great like when you're using a peyote stitch or something
right,
like that.
Right.
In the project that I'm going to do today, I am not really going to be stitching them that way, but we like the delicas with this project because the holes are kind of large, you know, compared to the size of the bead.
Right.
So it should be pretty easy for people to see how this is made. And so if you look at this piece of jewelry, you can see creating a little framework on the back. And then I'm going to set the rivoli in the middle. And so this is basically what we're going to create.
Let's hold it up to show people like this.
Yep.
Okay. And there are so many different ways to do this.
Yep.
And
I'll show people how to
beads, it's not time consuming. It's just that you have to be very, very, you have to have a lot of patience.
I like to think of it as something very zen. It's very relaxing.
Very zen. That's
very relaxing.
I like that. Very zen. I know, because a lot of people, I don't know about you, but a lot of people will look at things that I've done with seed beads and say, oh my God, you know, that would drive me crazy.
Yep.
And the odd thing is that it doesn't drive you crazy.
Well, let me start this because it does take a little bit of time to do.
Yes, it does.
And then maybe you can talk a little bit about, you know, your thoughts on seed beading while I'm doing it.
Okay.
All right, so this is an 18 millimeter Rivoli. So there's lots of different sizes, anything usually from 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, up to 27 pretty much. Yeah. And so basically it's a stone that we're going to wrap, and I'm going to use kind of a netting technique.
Okay.
So
that's a stitch. Netting is stitch.
So I chose these beads because they're not super shiny, so that it makes it easier for people to see what I'm doing.
Right.
So I'm using just some braided beading thread. You can get this at any bead store. And basically, I'm going to start by stringing 16 of the delicas in my main color. So I'm just going to show you guys a little trick. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
You have to have good eyes, let me tell you.
Actually.
My Mr. Magoo's, that's what I use.
All right, so I actually have a tendency to pull my glasses up like this so I can actually see what I'm doing. Now, what I wanted to show people was, let me move that out of the way, is that when you string your seed beads, so you're going to leave just a little bit of a tail so you can worry about it later, and this should be 16 beads. On this particular project, I like to just double check, make sure I got my count right, because it will matter later on, and that's definitely 16 seed beads. And the trick for tying it into a circle is basically taking your needle and passing it back through all the same beads again.
Oh, okay.
Right, so basically I'm passing back through all the seed beads again, making sure not to miss any beads. All right, so I can see that I put my needle back through that. And
that makes it so much easier.
So now, this is really important. So you bring that through, and when you pull it,
you make sure that you don't stab the person next to you.
So when you pull it, and it will form, as you pull it, it will form a circle on its own. And then you're going to take both ends and you're just going to tie a knot. And when I say a knot, I mean you're going to do, you know, left over right, and then you're going to do it again, because otherwise it's not a knot until you've done it at least twice. And
make sure it goes into the same place. I've had a problem with that.
Right. Now this technique helps you avoid errors when you're tying your knot.
Oh yeah.
All right, so now I have a little circle. And so basically, again, I'm going to grab my needle. And what I like to do when I start any project is I like to go through a couple beads, 1 or 2 beads. And the reason I do that is because A, it helps set the direction that I'm sewing in.
Yeah.
And it also helps me get away from the knot. Because sometimes when you're sitting right on the knot, it's kind of in the way. It's a little pesky.
Yeah,
so
I understand.
I like to have my, go through a couple beads just to set the direction.
Right.
So now that I've had my circle, you can see if you compare it to here, that's going to be the circle of the inside of the piece, on the back side of the piece.
And basically it's going to be like a wheel.
Yep.
One of those
So
wheels.
now, for the second step, I'm going to pick up 13 delicas. So one.
Yeah, these are the spokes.
Yep. 4.
It's absolutely amazing about doing this type of thing.
So I have,
I love it.
Again, 13.
Yeah.
So I just double check, make sure my count is right. So that's 8, that's 13. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going back to my circle, and I'm going to, from the bead that my thread is coming out of, I'm going to skip a bead and go through the next. All right, and so basically what I'm going to do is pull that up, and I'm going to continue doing that all the way around. All right, I'll do it one more time just so people can see that again.
So just to remind you, these Swarovski crystals don't have any holes in them.
Right.
And this is the reason why she's doing this.
All right, so there I skipped. I skipped a bead and I went through the next bead. All right, and so now I've made those spokes, and that's a good way to reference it. All right, so you're going to go all the way around. You're going to make 8 spokes, okay? When you get back all the way around and you're back to the beginning spoke, you're going to actually do a step up. And to do a step up means you're going to pass up through 7 beads. So you have 13. The 7th bead is the very middle bead. Okay, so it's like the tip bead right there. Okay, so once you've done that, and through the magic of television, I've actually prepared another piece where I've done all my spokes, and I came back up through the tip bead, and what I did is I picked up 5 delicas and went through each subsequent tip bead. So I picked up 5, went through a tip, picked up 5, and went through a tip. And I did that all the way around, and now I am back on the last one. So I'm going to show people how to do that. So I'm going to pick up 5, pick up 5, and I'm going to go through the tip bead again, which is, so I just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's,
usually you can tell.
Yeah, you can. So that's this one. All right, so can you see that on my
remove your
there we go.
finger.
All right, there we go. So I pick up 7, and so now what it does is it tends to close it up.
Right.
All right, so it's making like a little cup.
Yeah.
And as you can see, this rivoli will fit in the little cup. Okay?
Now all you have to do is you have to make sure that the tension is
right. But we don't do that just yet.
No, but
So
I don't want people to get confused when they see that.
all right, so again, in order to prepare for the next step, now what I'm going to do is from where my thread is, I'm going to be working on the outer edge beads. So I'm going to go through 4 beads, and that's going to be my step up.
Okay, so I'm sure that everyone in the audience is curious, when do you put the rivoli in that?
After I'm going to do one more round, and then I will add it.
Okay.
All right, so now I've gone through 4. Now I'm going to pick up 1, and I'm using an alternate color, just so everybody can see. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip 3 beads on the circle. So 1, 2, 3.
And go in the middle.
And I'm going to go through 3 beads on the next 3 beads. So skipping 3, going through 3. Okay? So I'm basically going to pick up that, and I'm just going to do that all the way around. So pick up 1, skip 1, and go through 3.
Skip 1. Okay, now that's pick up 1,
skip 3,
skip 3, and go through 1.
Go through 3.
3.
Okay, so I'm going to pick up 1.
Good thing you said. See, you have to go over it again and again with me. Too.
Yeah, and that's true for most people. Skip 3, go through 3. And hopefully people are getting some sense of
pick up 1,
what I'm doing.
Skip 3, go through 3.
Yep.
Okay. I think I got it. By Jove, I think I've got it.
All right, so there, doing that again. And as you can see, it's closing it up. in a pretty way.
Yes.
So just a little bit more, and then this will be done. And what's so great about this is it actually is a very quick way to wrap things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It really is. Not like some of these.
Some of them are more time consuming. What I love about this is that you can make a whole lot of these.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take very much time at all.
And if you can't find the size that we're working on, and say it's smaller, like the small one that you have.
Yes.
The count would be different.
You have to modify the count, but once you get a little bit of experience wrapping, one of them, two of them, you start to get
a sense of what you're doing.
Exactly.
But I don't want people to panic if they can't find that size.
All right, so now I've gone around, all right, and I've put in all my beads. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just like open it up a little bit. I put my crystal in place. Don't worry about putting your fingers on the crystal. And what I do is I can just pull this thread and just make sure that everything is positioned the way you like it. And you can see now that's going to hold into place. So the final step, what you would do, would be to, with your needle and thread, you're going to go through all this new row that we've created. So you're going to go through the light colored bead and the 3 dark beads, the light colored bead and the 3 dark beads. You're going to do that all the way around, and then just weave your thread to the back and tie a knot.
You know what I think of? I think of, when you have a little bag and you pull on it. It has like the strings and you pull on it.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're doing. You're basically just tightening it up.
Yes, and this last step is called reinforcing.
Reinforcing.
And so basically that will help keep all of the work that you just completed, keep it all done. Now, so it's a little bit loose right now. That's because I haven't reinforced it. But it won't make people suffer through that.
Once you go around again,
it's completely...
You tighten it just a little bit each time you go through.
And it really, that's what's holding it in.
That's it. It stays just like that.
So
through magic.
It really is.
It is magic.
So one of the things I wanted to mention is that, so I was just using some standard beading thread, which, like I said, you can get this at any bead store.
Right.
You wouldn't find it at a fabric store or anything. You want to definitely choose beading thread because it's very strong. This is actually a kind of a steel that has a coating on it because it's actually a kind of fishing line, believe it or not, but the beaders have liked it so much that it's now a beading thread.
Well, it's durable.
Exactly. And speaking of durable, the other product that I really like, which I'm going to bring up, is these are brand new needles. They only came out less than a year ago. Yeah. And one of my good friends, who's a sort of world-renowned beader, Carol Cipher, she went to the Tulip Beading Company and she had them design these needles with her specifications. And so what's great about them is they, whenever you use them, they tend to bounce back. They stay really straight.
Yes.
And they have these gold tips, which makes it really super easy to thread. And they're quite durable. And so if anybody wants to go online, sign up for our email list, or comment on our Facebook site, I'll send them a package of these tulip needles.
That's a good deal.
So I'll do it as a like a drawing.
As a drawing, that's a good drawing. I'll tell you, these needles are unbelievable. I haven't.
They come in these little cute vials too.
I know that you and I both have like needles that are like bent.
Yes.
All different ways. But these, you can bend them all you want and nothing's going to happen to them.
I mean, they're very, for every, with the other English beading needles that I was using, I would start a new one with every project. With this one, I can go through 10 projects before I even think about using another needle. So they're really great. They're called Tulip Beading Needles. Go and enter our email list on www.jewelryjunkietv.com and sign up for our email list. Also, go ahead and check out our Facebook page. I think if you do a search for Jewelry Junkie on Facebook, you'll find our site.
Yep, we're there.
And so
we're on Facebook as well. And if you have any questions at all about any projects that we have done in the past as well, any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Because Jen will be able to answer it. Notice
Thanks,
I
Pam.
said you.
Yes, that's okay. But Pam will keep you occupied in the meantime.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can answer you. Won't necessarily be right, but yes.
So, and I'll go and I will post a picture of this project so that people can get an idea.
Now, if they want to do something a little bit different, who would you recommend that does wrapping? Rivolis.
Oh, there's hundreds of different kinds of wrapping rivolis. You can do searches on the internet.
Yeah.
You can come and visit me at my store.
At your store in Melrose.
In Melrose, and I can show you a dozen different ways to wrap things.
Okay.
So, and like I said, we had all various examples.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely look online. You can see some incredible works that have been made. With a piece could have 20 rivolis in it, and it would be fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
you're super bling.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that like a lot of bling.
Yes.
So what they would do, I know someone who's making bracelet with these.
Yes. You can connect a whole bunch of these together.
Yes.
Yep. I created a little connection on this.
That was clever.
Yeah.
I was jealous when I saw it.
Well, don't be jealous.
Well, I have the same thing, and I haven't done a thing with it. I have all these little like projects like that, like wrapped rivolis and stuff like that just are sitting there,
well, then
waiting.
Connect them all together, and you'll be all set.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we should talk about what we want to do next. Is we're going to talk in our next show.
Our next show we will be doing fairly soon.
Very soon.
We'll be focusing on wire on that show, so
stay
tuned for that.
Love wire. And if you enjoy beading, and that's the term we use for seed beading, if you like to do bead weaving, anything like that, just go to your local bead store and say, I want to learn how to
bead weave.
Bead weave.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't encounter bead weaving until I met you.
Well, it's really a fun, relaxing thing to do.
It is. At first, I didn't think that I'd like it.
Right, now look at you. You're all blinged up.
I am all blinged up.
Yes.
I am. I'm
so there's many
shiny.
Different kinds of...
it's just so much fun now. I love bead weaving. Anyone out there who just does stringing, that's just one part of making jewelry. It's a wonderful way to make jewelry, but there are so many different things that you can do aside from just stringing.
Right.
And if you do enjoy stringing, you can still do these rivolis. You can still wrap them and attach them to something.
Exactly. This is an example of a rivoli, and then I've made a strung necklace to go with it. Same with these larger ones.
Right.
Those are strung after the rivoli has been wrapped.
They both have. Yep.
So.
Yes. And look at how different. These are the same pieces. These are the same pieces. I want you to see. These are the exact same pieces, exact same stitches.
But just changing the colors.
Look at how different they look just by the change of color.
Exactly. This
is the one thing I think that everyone loves about the Swarovski crystals.
Right.
Look at that. Look at that bling. I love that. So that just about wraps it up.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Jen. This was fabulous.
So I hope everybody learned how to wrap a rivoli.
Right.
And it was not that difficult.
No, not at all. And we've already done peyote stitching. So there are ways to wrap it with peyote.
I think we did some red angle weave as well.
Yeah.
So we will attempt some other bead weaving projects in the future.
Yes, if you like it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good idea. I know that it's time consuming for you, I know. But
we'll try to
make
it easy for folks.
I think in the long run it's great. So This is Pam Healy.
And Genevieve Martineau.
And Happy New Year.
Here on Jewelry Junkie.
Here on Jewelry Junkie TV. We'll see you next month.